In this video, we're going to talk about taking the derivative using the chain rule. Basically, what the chain rule does, it allows you to take the derivative of a function composition. So before we had functions being multiplied, added, divided, and raised to an exponent, but now we're going to have a function within another function. So we've seen this function before. We're trying to find the y prime, or the first derivative of y, and we're given this equation. Now this is just going to be a simple power rule. So we're going to take the derivative. It's going to be 12x to the third plus 30x squared minus 1 plus 0, and that's going to be our y prime. Okay, so that's a very simple power rule equation. But say, for example, we have this kind of thing. So our equation was 3x to the fourth plus 10x cubed minus x plus 5, all raised to the fifth power. Now we could try and simplify this by multiplying that polynomial to itself 5 times, but that's going to be a mountain of work, and that just leaves a really high chance of making a small error. So this is when we're going to use the chain rule. What the chain rule says is that if we have a function composition, we saw that back in pre-calc and algebra 2. So this is a function inside of another function, trying to take the derivative. You would accomplish that by taking the derivative of the outside function and multiplying it by the derivative of the inside function. So we have f prime of the regular g of x times the derivative of g of x. So let's try that with up here. Went up here again. Let's change it back to blue. So now we need to figure out what's our g of x and what's our f of x. So I'm going to say that stuff inside here, that's going to be your g of x. And the function that's inside of, let's say that's x to the fifth. So f of x. Okay, so f of g of x would be, we would plug in g of x into f of x, and it would look like 3x to the fourth plus 10x cubed minus x plus 4, all raised to the fifth power. So we're going to take the derivative of this guy, compose it of regular g of x, and multiply it by g prime. So we have derivative of f of x would be 5x to the fourth. So we're going to have 5 some x to the fourth times our derivative. I might have not left enough room here, so okay. I'm going to expand my equal sign down here. Okay, so our g of x was 3x to the fourth plus 10x cubed minus x plus 4 raised to the fourth power times our derivative of g, which is 12x cubed plus 30x squared minus 1. So y prime is equal to, let's see if I can give myself enough room here. So y prime is equal to 5, 3x to the fourth is 10x cubed minus x plus 4 raised to the fourth Okay, now that's the chain rule. We'll do a couple more examples and then we'll be on our way. Here we have a somewhat of a challenging problem. If we were to try and simplify this, we would have to rewrite it as, let's see, y equals 1 over negative x to the fourth minus 3 squared. And then we need to FOIL that, and then we need to do the quotient rule. So it will get complicated real quick. Or we can just use the chain rule. We can say the function inside, so our g of x equals a of x to the fourth minus 3, and our composition function, so our f of x, the function that g of x is being plugged into, would equal x to the negative 2. So we know g of prime of x is equal to, using the power rule, negative 4x to the third, and then f prime of x is equal to negative 2x to the negative 3. So our chain rule says, thinking back to the chain rule, f of g of x, my prime would be the derivative of the composition function of our g of x times the derivative of g of x. Okay, so let's just plug and chug. So we got, let's go back to black. So y prime is equal to f prime, which was negative 2 of sum x to negative 3. What's being plugged in for x is going to be g of x, which is negative x to the fourth minus 3, times our g prime. Okay? And that would do it. Now sometimes you might see it written so that we don't see any negative exponents. So this could be written as okay, and if that happens, it would simplify further to negative 2 times negative 4, which is 8x cubed over negative x to the fourth minus 3 cubed. Alright, I would accept both these answers on the test. They're both saying the same exact thing, just written differently. But that's basically how you find the derivative using the chain rule. Alright, after watching this video, you should feel comfortable with trying these out. Keep in mind that square root is the same thing as saying raised to the half power. After this, we're going to start combining all the rules we learned so far, including power rule, product rule, quotient rule, and now the new chain rule.